Hi everyone, I'm Brent with VenomPads.com, and today I'm talking about the Blade Doctor series. There's many times where I travel and I set up shops cutting certain material. This is what I call the Blade Doctor's Choice. Whenever I'm running a bridge saw, I only use from VenomPads.com SVEB. These blades are made in Italy, and I found in running bridge saws I've been using these blades for a solid 25 years. I've been selling these blades for 25 years. Hands down, it's my personal Blade Doctor blade of choice. And I'm going to run through it right now. So if I ever have to put my life on a blade that I have to run, this is the blade I'll use. I can run this on any brand saw, big horsepower, low horsepower, variable RPMs, standard RPMs. I cut with the SVB blades, Dekton, Quartzite, porcelain, nanoglass. You name the material, I can cut with these blades. It's my one-hit wonder blade, SVEB. I'm going to go over the series of them and how I personally use them when I work. First off, I start out with the #1 selling blade is the Taj Mahal blade that SVEB makes. I'll open it up, show you what it looks like. This is called a split segment blade. So what they did is they took a blade segment, split it, then welded it separately. The reason they did this is when you create space in a segment, it creates a faster cut because it gets the sludge out, and the slurry when you're cutting, there's nothing to keep it from glazing up, so it gets the slush out, the slurry. Hands down, cutting quartzite, I've never had any blades to date come close to how this blade cuts. It's like I said, you put me in a shop, I'll cut with this blade. It's my #1 blade. I'll tell you about it now. It's 15 millimeters in height. The advantage of a 15 millimeter quartzite blade over, say, a 20 or 25 millimeter quartzite, a 15 millimeter blade and lower will always do a better miter cut than a bigger segmented. So if you're really important on the quality of a miter cut with your straight cutting, one of the top reasons why to consider this. The only difference is a bigger segmented blade. If I made this in bigger segment, I could, but the only thing is the quality of the miter cut's not going to be as great. And for the money, this is a really economical blade, especially being made in Italy. It's great. The other thing is that it cuts in all of my testing of quartzite blades, it cuts as equally fast as all the fastest high-speed cutting quartzite blades. I found that it keeps right up with them. And to me, I was never into super high speeds. To me, I'm always about just a really good quality cut. Whenever I run this blade, I work on parameters of RPMs that I don't need to go into. If you ever really get into technical questions, you can email me at VenomPads.com, a technical question. But so with this segment, it works phenomenal on quartzite, and that's why I just call it the Taj Mahal blade. And even though it's for quartzite, you still can cut granite great, you can cut quartz great. So if you're cutting multiple jobs after you cut your quartzite, you can still keep it on. It's still going to cut your granite fantastic. It's going to cut your quartz fantastic. Just a great choice for a quartzite blade specific. And like I said, 2 reasons: straight cutting it does great, miter cutting it does great, and the quality of cut on the quartzite is actually really, really smooth. Moving along, the next blade is the SVE blade, quartz blade. Once again, this blade is 15 millimeters, and I'm going to keep reiterating a lot through my video, even if it might sound redundant, is that when it comes to the blades I use as a blade doctor, one of my most important things is can I straight cut or miter cut with the blade. And I've found in me using blades that the blades that are designed for miter cutting are always 15 millimeter, 10 millimeter, down to 8 millimeter. So I always, if I'm in a shop cutting their material, especially some of this material is a lot of money, I don't want to take a risk in the quality. So yes, I can use bigger segmented blades at times on a lot of different materials and even miter cut with them, but my personal choice for me is always going to be the SVEB collection. And so this is the quartz blade made by them. And the only difference between the quartz blade from SVEB and their Taj Mahal quartzite blade is the segment. I'm going to explain, and it's actually the exact same segment. So I'm going to show you how blades work. So this blade and this blade here are the exact same segment. Same segment. So technically this will cut quartzite just like this cuts quartzite. The only difference is this cuts quartzite faster than this cuts quartzite. That's the only difference. Now, the second difference is that the same segment is that this segment, they split it. So you see here how this is split? They have a machine, when they make this segment, it's scored and they split the segment. When the segment split, they take it and weld it on this blade. And that's where you can see the space. So technically, it's the same blade, the same segment. It's just how they welded the segment on this blade. They split it. They gave it space to create more of the slurry to get out of the cut, which increases the speed by getting the sludge out, and the grit and the water works faster, so it cuts at a faster speed. So, if you're running a shop and you want a really good blade or two blades that cut miter and straight cutting, both these are great choices. Where if you need a faster cut on the quartzite, you could throw that on and you still could do multiple jobs with it. Or you could run this one and it'll cut the quartzite a little slower, but you'll still cut your quartz fast and your granite fast, and also straight cuts and miter cuts really well. So that's the quartz and quartzite series as SVEB, you know, the similarities and the small little differences. Next we have, my other one I use a lot is the porcelain blade. I call it porcelain because everything to do with the industry with porcelain, Dekton, all the compact surface blades, I just reference them as porcelain blades because it gets like splitting hairs, different brands. So this is the blade. If you ever see some Blade Doctor videos of me cutting Dekton, different types of compact porcelains, this is the blade I always use. This is my #1 choice blade for compact surfaces. It's a good choice, and I found in my experience of cutting the solid the compact, there's a lot of different things that we don't know with each brand, because there's certain material that might have a little bit more of a polymer or whatever they call it. It's not a polymer. There's more to it than just quartz in their formula. So sometimes a variance of blades works with the compact surface, and also you have to play a lot around with RPM speeds depending on what brand, if it's Dekton or another one, or non-branded. But to me, I classify it all as porcelain, and how I change the RPMs is depending on what it is. Because I know even within Dekton, different colors of Dekton cut completely different than the other colors. They don't all just one blade cuts it all the same. So you have to actually use and think on each each compact material, whether even in the same brands. So for me, if I'm at a shop, I find the SVEB porcelain blade, as we sell on venompads.com, it's called the porcelain SVE blade, will get you all that category, no problem. But once again, you have to learn to play with the RPMs depending on the type of compact surface. And like I said, any technical questions, you can email me at venompads.com. Next, moving along, is the marble blade. When it comes to marble, I honestly very, very, very rarely use a marble blade, because usually I'll do, if I'm at a shop, I'll take like more of a granite segmented blade that they're already running, and I just increase the RPM speed. But if you're a customer that does use marble blades specifically for marble, the SVEB marble blade is fantastic. I've used this marble blade on everything from Calcutta marble to Carrara to Botticino to Negro Marquina. I mean, for marble specialists that really just want a marble blade that cuts marble perfect, zero chipping, and you can straight cut, miter cut, More of the marble blade purists that when they run a marble, they run a marble blade. Boom, use this. Also, that's another reason why I've always liked the SVE blades. For the real traditionalist cutter where you just want one blade for one thing, I have found that this factory makes the most also blade specifics for for the operator, the bridge saw operator that's running saws. Like, you know what? I want a marble blade for marble, a porcelain blade for the Dekton. I want a quartzite for quartzite. I want a quartz blade for quartz. I want a granite blade for granite. They do make it that way, and that's why I have all these blades. And even though it's made that way, I'm also showing you that the blades can be used specifically for one thing, but also all blades can be used in a variety of materials. Even though it's designed for one material, for some reason, the science behind making blades also works on multiple items, even though it was specific. So next in line, the last but not least, is the original blade I started selling. I guess I really started selling these closer to like 22 years ago. I said 25, but I think it was more like 22 years ago when I started selling this one. This is the original SVE blade made for granite. It's 20 millimeters, and this was the traditional blade that everyone used back in the day for the big segmented. Before blades got up to 25 and 26 millimeter, the big trend back then was 20 millimeter blade that could cut granite. Once again, even though this is just for granite, it does cut quartz just as good as granite. Quartzite, it cuts really slow, but it does cut quartzite. It just cuts it slower than a quartzite blade. It does really good actually on marble because it was a granite segment. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10 on performance of marble, on marble, I would say 7.5 of like to a real critical eye. Many won't even notice the difference if they cut marble. And the really big thing is this: if you're going to be going from if you have to cut marble in a pinch and you have like any kind of blade on, even like a quartzite blade, like I'll cut marble with this at times, a regular quartzite blade. What I usually do is if the machine has ability to change the speed, I increase the RPMs by like 30%. So if you're running, suppose you're running at 1500 RPMs, 30% would be, say, 450 RPM, an increase of 450 RPMs. You bump it up closer to 2000 RPMs, and you'll be cutting marble really well, because RPM speeds for marble are usually a faster RPM speed anyways, and that's also why it has a performance difference. A lot of times with even porcelain, a lot of these blades, RPM speeds definitely affect performance of blades even within its class. So in theory, if you had a machine that had variable speeds and you're running a marble blade, that marble blade will definitely perform on marble completely in different levels depending on the RPMs that you run it. So there is a lot of freedom with blades how they run, which is good, because with that freedom you can troubleshoot if there's a problem with cutting. So thank you. I'm Brent with VenomPads.com.